What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Too Pop to Handle. I'm your host, Andrew Nucatola, your pop culture best friend. And as always, I hope you guys are having a fabulous week. And I mean, let's just be real. It is a Dua Lipa release week. How could we not be having a fabulous week? We have perfect pop music on the horizon because, like I've said before, Dua Lipa does not release bad music, and I'm sure this album will be nothing shy of it. We have some Dua news to talk about later in the show, but let's not jump ahead. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope if you are in this like spring fever weather that has come over New York, and I'm sure the surrounding areas, I hope you are soaking it up. It was gorgeous here over the weekend, even like through the week so far. It's just been like fabulous weather. And if you've been listening for a while, you know my mood is very dependent on the weather. I wish I wasn't like this, but what can I say? I am who I am. But since we last spoke, I had some fun things happen. So let's dive into some girl talk, some FaceTime. Let's catch up, and then we'll talk about some pop culture things because that's really what we're here for. But first, we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, myself. So, first and foremost, I completely forgot to mention it last week because I didn't have a ticket when I recorded. But Girl in Red was in New York last week, and I ended up snagging a last minute ticket, and I had such a good time. I will say she was under the weather, and she made it known. She kept telling the audience how sick she was and how she needed to stay hydrated and how she didn't feel good and how she almost canceled the show, but she couldn't because Taylor Swift wouldn't cancel the show. So how can Girl in Red? And it definitely like shifted the mood. I'm not gonna lie. Like she was great, she sounded great, but like the in between the song parts, I was like, we get it. You're sick. Do you want us to feel bad? Like it was very weird. No shade, no tea. Like it is what it is. I get it. Trust me. Going on tour is a monster within itself. So I don't like people who go on like full-fledged tours and sing every night and do the whole nine, like kudos to you. But I was just like, okay, you could have mentioned it once and then gone on with it. Like it was very odd. And that's somebody I've seen her before. Like she was great. Like she was so fun. Like I had a blast still. But I was like, if you didn't want to do the show, you could have canceled it. You know what I mean? That being said, I saw Girl in Red last week. You guys know I've been loving her new album, her first album I'm obsessed with as well. So very fun. I had a blast. It was a very fun time. And then I got a little text from no other than Dua Lipa. And by that I mean I'm subscribed to her text things. And she sent out a text saying, if you're in New York, respond to this with the word, I think it was radical, whatever. Yeah, radical, I want to say. And you can get invited to come see me and Drew Barrymore. Now, if you know me, you know that I literally could die for Drew Barrymore. I love her. I've gone to her show before. I've seen her do, I was at like the Renee Rapp conversation she did where that guy like rushed to the stage. Like, I love Drew Barrymore down, and I obviously love and adore Dua Lipa because in the 4 minutes I've been recording, I've talked about her for three of them. And so when I was like, oh my God, it's Drew and Dua, or as they were calling themselves, Drua, which I love, I was like, I have to be there. Like, there's no other option. I have to go. So got the text, I responded, and within a few hours, they said, yep, you're confirmed. We will see you tomorrow. So, which meant I spent my Friday morning with no other than Dua Lipa and Drew Barrymore. And it was definitely, it was fabulous. Do not get me wrong. But it was such a bizarre experience. Now, I've been to a lot of TV show tapings. I've been to a lot of, like TV appearances, interviews, things like that. And I've, first and foremost, off the bat, it was at like a performing arts high school kind of thing. So, which I was like, all right, cool, like whatever. It was actually like really close to my office, not far from the apartment. Like it was like very easy to get to. So I was like, sick, love this for me. They did this for me. But then we got there. And when I tell you they held us hostage for like 2.5 hours before we even got a glimpse of Dua Lipa or Drew Barrymore, I was like, what is going on? Now, TV tapings, if you don't know, when you go to a TV show taping, it's like the glitz and glam, the smoke and mirrors of Hollywood. You're gonna be sitting for a while. You're gonna have to get warmed up from the crowd. You know what I mean? Like, that's to be expected. And if you've never been, you essentially like go in, you have to get there early. Obviously, they have to make sure everyone's seated, make sure they're all set with their cameras, their lighting, their mics, the whole nine. Usually then like a comedian or somebody will come out, warm up the crowd, make sure we understand like, okay, you can clap here, laugh here, don't record at this moment, but you when they say this, you can record. Like there's rules, which I totally understand. And I don't know why this one felt so much longer. Maybe it was because we were sitting in a high school auditorium. Maybe it was because they like had some of the students go up and sing and record audition tapes to be used in the future. Like it was so bizarre. But that being said, after the performing, after the comedian Drua comes out and they did an interview just talking about the album, how it was cool. It was Drew's first time meeting Dua, so vice versa. That's how that works, Andrew. They had never met before, but obviously they were like so excited. Drew was like, we listen to you in my house all the time. I mean, who doesn't love Drew Barrymore? So Dua was excited. So we got to watch them meet for the first time. They like didn't meet backstage. They wanted to their first real interaction to be on camera. So they came out, they hugged, they embraced, you know how Drew is, and they did a fabulous interview. It was actually really insightful. If you remember, I saw Dua back on Seth Meyers a few months ago, and it was just, it was great. It was so much fun. It was like, that was more personality driven. I feel like she got the tattoo, they did the drinking game, they did the interview, but we weren't so close to the album where she was giving that much away. She was more talking about the Grammys and like alluding to the album and kind of giving us just like hints from like the singles, which loved it. I had a blast seeing her with Seth, don't get me wrong. But now that she's able to talk more openly about the project and she was kind of tying in more about the album, you guys know I'm like a whore for those things. I love when an artist gives us like the nitty gritty of an album. So getting to hear her then and then now to kind of see like the whole album progression it was cool. It was to like compare and contrast. So they talked about the album, they talked about her upbringing, they took some questions from the crowd. It was fabulous. Definitely a long morning. I did not expect to be there for as long as I was. I was literally running to my office after work. I told my boss I would be in at a certain time, and then I was nowhere near that time when I got in. But it is what it is. When Dua Lipa calls, you answer. So that was Friday. And then, so exciting, Saturday morning, I got to cross something off my 2024 vision board. If you follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, you have already seen. And this weekend, everything goes live. But Saturday morning, I was part of the Gay Pride Apparel Pride campaign for 2024, which back in December, by Taylor Swift, I made a vision board just like every other girl, and I put on there, you know, certain things, be invited to more events, and that came true in February. If you remember, I went to the People's Choice Awards, which is really cool. Be part of a Pride campaign. This happened this weekend. So this is my message. Make the vision board, start manifesting, do a Q2 vision board. You know, it's never too late to start manifesting. So it was so cool, so much fun. So some background. Gay Pride Apparel, they are a queer owned brand. They actually it's a two boyfriends. They live in the city. We've been mutuals for years. I want to say like 4 years, and we've never met, nothing like that. We'll comment on each other's stuff here and there, but never anything more than that. And so when I saw that they posted that they were going to be doing a shoot in New York, I was like, I have to hit them up. They said on the vision board, you've been following each other for years, like just do it. So I shot them a message. I was like, hey, da da da. We chit chatted, and lo and behold, I was part of the campaign, which was just so much fun to cross that off my vision board and do it with somebody who is they're a small owned, like queer based company in New York. Like it was just felt so, I don't know, it just felt like it was supposed to, like meant to be, you know what I'm saying? So much fun. They make such funny pride merch. They do like, just like quirky little things like Make America Gay Again, the heteros are upsetero, is giving pride, like really silly, fun pride merch. So if you're looking for any fun pride t-shirts, hats, they make backpacks, they get flags, like anything you need to like let the world know that you are queer and you are here, head over to their website. They actually, saying we're here, just did the entire merch line for the We're Here show on HBO Max. And that was cool. Like obviously huge moment for them. So like they're killing it. Snaps to them. But yeah, head over to gayprideapparel.com. The Pride collection launches this Saturday, May 4th. So you will see me up on the website, on their socials, and along with some other fabulous people. I want to say with a group of like 6 of us. Everybody was so sweet, so kind. It was seriously such a fun morning and so quick. Like I feel like we were on it. They were like, all right, now you two, now the group, now one of you, now 4 people, now just the group, now the 2. Like they had their shit together. They were on it. I was like, this is how everybody needs to work. They were so productive with the way that they did it. It was like the perfect first shoot. I've never been on a set before. It was like the perfect way to like be part of my first campaign. It was such a fabulous morning and I had so much fun. And then the other little thing to note from the weekend, we ended up watching Anyone But You, which is the Sydney Sweeney Glenn Powell movie. And let me just say, if the two of them aren't in cahoots behind the scenes, they need every single award because, my God, their chemistry on camera, I was like, I feel it. Like I'm falling in love with the two of them. The way that they were interacting and like they loved each other but hated each other and whatever. Like I won't give it away too much, but like it was so good. Their acting was impeccable. What was it, like groundbreaking cinema? Of course not. It was a rom-com, but it was a perfectly done rom-com. I laughed, I cried, I was on the edge of my seat at some points. Like it was just so well done. And now I understand like the hype around it. It was so good. If you have not watched it, it is now on Netflix. You can go stream it over there. 10 out of 10, absolutely loved it. And like I get the hype. I completely understand why everybody was like, "Oh, the two of them, they're fucking." Like I if I was in either of their shoes and that person looked at me and talked to me like that, I would fold. I would 100% fold. Like they were, you can't tell me that they weren't into each other. Marriages aside, engagements aside, I know. Let me live in my fantasy land. Something was going on. Like, come on, let's be serious. But seriously, if you have not watched it and you're looking for a good, just like a solid rom-com, take some time, get yourself a little drink, a snack, maybe take a gummy, like whatever you're feeling to get you in that fun little, comfy, cozy vibe, and watch this movie because I promise you will love it. If you're anything like me, you will love this movie. And yeah, that was my weekend. We were, out and about doing our things, but those are like the main points. So I hope you guys had a fabulous weekend yourselves. I hope your week is going well. And let's hop into some pop culture things because there's always something to talk about. One thing about me, I'm a professional yapper, and even though there's not things to talk about, I'm gonna find something to talk about. So let's hop into our first segment of this show, which is our Drew releases, our new releases from last week, and our new releases coming up this week. We only had one from last week that I was on my radar, and it was Normani finally releasing a single. If you know, then you know, we have been waiting for music from Normani for what feels like 374 years. It has been such a long road since she started her solo music career. And there's that meme on Twitter where it's like, it's been 6 years since Normani said she had the title of her album. It's been 7 years since Normani said she had the title of her album. Like, it's been an ongoing running joke on Stan Twitter. And we finally are dipping our toes into it. We have the lead single, it's called 159. The album comes out, I want to say it was June 14th was the date. And the song is good. It's cute. Is it 6 years, however long it's been, worth the wait? No. I am a little let down, I'm not gonna lie. It's a great song. It's a good song. Let's not say great. I like it. It's fun. It's like it's not fun. Why am I lying? It's just like after waiting so long and that's the song that you put out, I was like, girl, come on. Like this better not be the setup for the album because like and I like the sound. That I think the problem is the hype around it or lack thereof. Like there was minimal promo. She announced it months ago, but like there was this underlying like if you're chronically online, you knew it was a big deal that Normani is finally releasing music from her solo album, but like that's what you released. Listen, if it's your cup of tea, fine. And I think if this song was released not as the lead single of an album that we've been waiting for 4 or 5, 6 years, I would be all over it. And I do like it. I like the song. I think it's a good song, but it's just not lead single worthy. Like I know she hates motivation, but like girl, motivation slaps to this day. It's so good. And if you could do it and figure it out. Like find a way to make that sound work for you because people ate that up. And this song, people aren't even going back for seconds. I'm sorry. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be nasty, but like come on. Like I don't know. It's not a bad song. Don't get me wrong. Like, don't come for me if you're a Normaniator or Normani stan, whatever they call themselves. But like, just mm, I don't know. I was expecting a little bit more, but it is what it is. I'm still excited for the album. I will be tuning in. It comes out in June, like I said. So we will see how this road develops. But so far, not bad, but not great. We'll leave it at that. Because this week we have two very exciting releases coming out, and they are two albums. So Bodies of Work coming out. The first one, we've already talked about her, and I will continue to talk about her till the day I die. Miss Dua Lipa is releasing her third studio album, Radical Optimism. Now, my friend Nicole went to the listening party Friday after the Drew Barrymore interview, and she heard the album early. She said it is so good, and I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter who have heard it from the listening party saying, "Oh my God, you guys like prepare to dance, prepare for pop music." She definitely leans into that like crying on the dance floor vibe. Is what I'm getting. Where like it's kind of sad lyrics with an upbeat like tempo, but I'm into that. You know what I mean? It's very Jack Antonoff, which I know is controversial at the moment, but I love Jack Antonoff's production style and all that, so I will eat it up. But people are loving the album. It did leak allegedly as of like an hour ago. I haven't listened to it and I don't think I'm going to. I feel like I'm in like a music overload right now. Like I need to like process things still from March that I'm still trying to like wrap my head around. So I'm gonna sit this leak out. I will wait until Friday and give my brain a breather for new music for the next like 96 hours while I have it because it's a lot. And I'm like, oh my God, there is so much music coming out. But that being said, we also have music from Rachel Chinouriri, which if you guys have been listening, you know that I have been obsessed with her in the last few weeks. She is finally putting out her album, What a Devastating Turn of Events. We have like 6 singles, I want to say, maybe 5 singles from this album already. I've loved them all. They've been so good. I'm so into her and I feel like she's gonna blow up in the next year or so. Like I just feel like she has that oomph about her and I'm so stoked for this full album. I can't wait. I'm so excited. It really is one of my like most anticipated of the year because she's kind of an underdog and I say that in a loving way. Like she's releasing music in the same 3 month span as Ariana Grande, Beyonce, Dua, Taylor, like all these major artists, and she's an artist from the UK who is releasing her album in this, and I am rooting for her so hard. I'm so excited for this album. Cannot wait to listen to it. So we will talk about both the Dua and Rachel's albums next week. And that wraps up our Drew releases. I know in May we do have a few exciting ones. We have singles from Charlie XCX. We have Billie's album. We'll have Normani in June. Like we definitely have some more releases coming, but I feel like we are getting through the thick of like constant releases. I mean, it was like a revolving door of music for a while. It was like Ariana, Casey Musgraves, Maggie Rogers, Beyonce, Girl in Red, Taylor Swift, Dua Lipa. Like it has been constant releases back to back to back. Chappell Roan, Chloe, like so many releases, and I'm like, holy shit, this is crazy. But you know what? We go years without music. I will take what I can get. I just know that 2025 is going to be dry as hell. Actually, 2025 is the perfect year for Lorde to release her next album. Wait until everyone's done, release it next year, give us something because we are getting nothing from the rest of these artists for a minute. And that being said, let's hop into some more pop culture-y topics because we got, the name on everybody's lips lately, Taylor Swift. We got a few things to chit-chat about her. So let's dive into some Taylor Swift news because when isn't there Taylor Swift news? And then we'll kind of trickle down and see where the road takes us. So, first and foremost, obviously, Tortured Poets Apartment is killing it right now. It has taken over the Billboard Hot 100. I think she charted the first like 14 songs this week. She sold like 2 million copies. It's her biggest debut ever, like all these things. And she obviously is excited. She's thrilled. Like, who wouldn't be? You just took over the Billboard Top 10, Hot 100, whatever list for the second time in your career. It's major. But I need to say something. And this might rub you guys the wrong way if you are a Swiftie. And don't get me wrong, I'm a Taylor stan. I'm a huge Taylor stan, and I've said this through and through, but I use Swiftie as a derogatory term. And if you aren't okay with that, I apologize. But why is Taylor so surprised that she charted so well? Not only is she the biggest selling artist right now and has been for the last however many years, like since Folklore Evermore and everything, like she's been on this up and up for years. Like it was no doubt she was going to dominate the charts. But let alone the fact that she has this like virality, she's on this major tour, she's dating the guy on the Chiefs, like she has been literally the name on everybody's lips, and she's so shocked and can't believe that she has the top 14 tracks. Girl, you released 19 versions of the album. You had 19 different variants of this album between vinyl, CDs, cassettes, digital versions. I don't even, probably like a smoke signal version, probably a carrier pigeon version. Like, there were so many versions of this album, and I am not saying this in a negative way. I love Taylor. I love the album. Like, I am all over it. Do not get me wrong. But I think we need to, like, cut the shocked factor. Like we should like girl, this is not the Grammys when you won Album of the Year for Fearless. You come on. We are so far into this career and you're going to be like, "How did this happen?" I got the top 10 songs again after my last album did it, and I've been on the tour still, and I'm making bigger headlines than ever. Girl, no shit. You got the top 14 songs on the Billboard Hot 100. You're Taylor fucking Swift. Can we cut the act? Like, the, I get it. Sure. Be humble. I get it. Whatever. Stay grounded. But like, if you didn't get all of them, it would be weirder. You know what I mean? Like, it would be more shocking for you not to chart this high or sell that many albums than the fact that you did. And again, this is not me being shady. I'm just being like realistic and like level-headed as a stan of pop music in general, and especially being a fan of Taylor literally since debut Fearless era. Like, I have been on this roller coaster with her the whole time. When everyone else hated her, we were still on board. And I'm just like, girl, like this not like you had anything happen in the last year or two since you released Midnights that would make this not chart. You have been down our throats, in our faces. Everybody loves you. Can we cut this like surprised act? Because the next story I have to say is the fact that Travis and Taylor will not be going to the Met Gala because they don't want to be the center of attention. If you are, this is what People reports at least, so they got this from somebody, who knows where, but I mean, it's the truth. If you're so self-aware that you are going to be the center of attention somewhere, so you're not going, why are you so shocked that your album is selling so well? It's things like this where I'm like, we need to cut the act and cut the cameras and be like, yeah, no shit, you just charted so well. And this sounds so negative, and as I'm saying it, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna lose listeners, no one's gonna listen. If you've listened at all, if you follow me anywhere, I ride and die for Taylor. I have a Taylor Swift tattoo. I've met the bitch. I've been seeing her on tour since like 2012. Like, I have been ride or die for the bitch. And I am not saying this in a negative way, but it's just like sometimes the act needs to be hung up. That being said, congratulations, Miss Taylor Swift. She has now, I think, the second biggest debut in history, right behind Adele. I didn't think she was gonna beat Adele. Adele selling 3.8 million copies of 25 in 1 week was insane, and I honestly, it's gonna be a long time for that to be topped. And I mean, I Adele is in her own lane, her own category, so it's like that's not even something I feel like was comparable. Take that as you will. But congratulations, Miss Taylor. I hope you enjoy your Monday off this week when you're not going to be at the Met Gala, gearing up for your shows in Paris. I'm very excited to see what happens with the Eras Tour. Moving on to our next story, she is allegedly adding the Tortured Poets Apartment into the Eras Tour set. If you didn't see, which I'm sure you saw because again, she's Taylor Swift, she posted a YouTube short, and you can tell in it that they are rehearsing a new number because there's like outfits and props that they don't use before. And in one of the pictures, if you look really, really close and you zoom in on the fence, you can see the TTPD logo on the fence. So I'm like, what's getting cut? What's getting added? Like, how is it fitting in? Is it gonna fit in at the end of midnight? Is it gonna go in the middle of the set? Like, where is the Tortured Poets department fitting into this 3 hour long show? Granted, she only had one opener for the rest of the tour. Like, throughout the whole end of it, there's only one opener, where in the past there were two. So realistically, she does have like 20 extra minutes. If she went on earlier, she could add an extra set and not change anything. So I'm very curious. There's a lot of theories. People are thinking that the songs she cut out of the Eras Tour movie are the ones that are getting the chop from the tour. So like The Archer, Cardigan, I don't remember what else was cut. It's a long movie, but people are saying they think that is like what she's doing. I don't see her cutting Cardigan. I know it is like a Maddie song now that we're thinking. Like, I don't know. I think, and Cardigan is like, it was like a moment. Like, Cardigan was a moment in her career, and I don't think she's gonna cut it. So I'm very curious to see what she's gonna do in terms of adding this to the set. And I don't know if we're reading into it too much, but like, they wouldn't be rehearsing with new outfits and props if she wasn't adding to it, right? Like, I don't know, something seems weird, and I'm very tuned in for when the Eras Tour does kick back off, and I think it's next week. I know it is in Paris, so we are getting close to more Eras Tour updates. If you remember back in whenever the fuck she was on tour, like October, when she was doing those mashups and those medleys, like that was crazy for the surprise song. So I'm like, what are you gonna do now? what are you gonna do for the surprise songs now that just like send us on a spiral? Because if you remember, I was spiraling over these surprise songs. I was like, what the fuck is she doing? Those mashups, they were crazy. So I'm very curious to see how this plays into the Eras tour. We will, we'll be seated, we will wait. And clearly, if you're still listening and you didn't click out from my mini little Taylor rant, you can tell I love Taylor. I am a huge Taylor fan. But sometimes things just need to be brought down to earth and like really, really view that. You know what I mean? So that being said, very excited for Taylor to be back on tour soon. I don't have any plan to be seeing the Eras tour again, unfortunately, because it is like the ticket nightmare. I did go twice, so I cannot complain. So who knows if I end up at another show? I end up at another show. I don't think I will be. But excited for everybody who will be. And yeah, I'm excited to see how this pans out. And then some final Taylor and Travis news. I'm sure you've seen, were at the Mahomes family charity gala this weekend, and they were all over each other. And I love it. I love the two of them being a couple and not being, hidden away and like being lovey-dovey. Like I've talked about how much I love the two of them doing normal things. And I mean, going to a charity gala isn't necessarily the most normal thing, but they were like enjoying the night as if it was a normal thing. They were, there's a video of Travis like kissing her shoulder while they're standing there. They're like, walking to their table together. Like security is kind of laid back. Like it was just like it's cool to see them going to events as a couple, you know what I mean? That aren't necessarily like high, it's not the Super Bowl. It's not the Met Gala. It's not, an award show. They are doing this for a good cause. Taylor ended up donating 4 Eras tour tickets to the cause, which is so nice. Just a fun little casual charity gala night out. Nothing really more to come from that. She looked gorgeous. I loved that dress on her. I think she looked so good. And Travis just, you can tell how obsessed he is with her, and I love watching it. He is down bad crying at the gym for this girl, and as she should be. As he absolutely should be. Like, I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, it's so good. Moving on, let's put some Taylor news behind us because there will be more, I'm sure, next week. The Met Gala. Like I already said, the two of them, Taylor and Travis, will not be attending allegedly, but we've gotten some new inklings of who is going to be there, and we're close. We are, what, 5 days away? 6 days away? 5 days when you're listening to this. It is next Monday, first Monday in May, always, and some fun little insider news, which not really, I just happened to walk by, but I was walking through Central Park with Thomas, my boyfriend, the other day, and we were walking past the Met to exit onto the east side of the park, and you could see them like setting up tables inside because they host it in like the glass room. I think it's the Egyptian area of the Met. And they were setting up tables there, and you could see just like in through the little window, not obviously nothing exciting except like tables and chairs, but they are getting ready. They are gearing up for the first Monday in May. I'm very excited for this Met Gala. I feel like there is a lot of hype around it. There always is, but something about this year just feels bigger for some reason. I don't know why. Something just feels a little more like rambunctious about this Met Gala. And we have some inklings of people who may or may not be attending. First and foremost, there's rumors that Lindsay Lohan is attending. If Lindsay Lohan is at the Met Gala the same night that Beyonce is rumored to be at the Met Gala, oh my God. If you know, you know. But so Lindsay, It Girl About It Girls, is allegedly making an appearance at the Met Gala. Beyonce is allegedly making an appearance at the Met Gala. Ariana Grande, Sabrina Carpenter, Miley Cyrus, Katy Perry, Nicki Minaj. Like, there is such an A-list stacked list of people attending the Met Gala or rumored to be attending the Met Gala this year. I don't believe the like confirmed list because we'll get one report that Taylor Swift is confirmed, and then we get another report that she's not confirmed. So I take it with a grain of salt, but like these are people who I would imagine to be at the Met Gala. She's been there before, and I feel like it would make sense. She's kind of been doing off her beaten path of the past few years. She's been kind of doing more appearances and things like that. So I feel like it wouldn't be the craziest thing if she goes this year. Ariana, I'm sure if she goes, she's gonna do something with Cynthia. Obviously, they're about to gear up for this Wicked press tour. They have so much like ahead of them, and I just think like anytime the two of them step out together, it is such a moment. The Super Bowl, CinemaCon, like whenever the two of them are together and they do like that matching green and pink look, like it's always a moment. So I could see them doing something together. That would be so fun. And like, what better way to do it than that way? You know what I mean? Sabrina Carpenter, I mean, like one of the it girls of the moment. If her and Barry go to the Met Gala together, I will be passing away. I will literally, my soul will leave my body and it will be the end of me. But I am very excited to see if and what Sabrina wears to the Met Gala because I just feel like she would be like the perfect little Polly Pocket on the little carpet. Ugh, I live. Miley Cyrus again. She doesn't really go to events that often, but she did go to the Grammys this year and she has been to the Met Gala before. And I feel like she did a little more loosey-goosey lately with things. Like I feel like she would attend, but I also could see her skipping it. So we'll see there. And again, this is just like the list that I was reading on Twitter. Katy Perry, she alluded to it in an interview. She said, like, you'll have to wait and see what I wear. So I'm sure she will be there. Nicki Minaj is going to be in New York tomorrow, actually, for her closing night of the New York run of the Gag City tour. I will hopefully be there. Stay tuned. And I wouldn't be surprised if she stayed in New York for a few days to go because it is so close. I actually, when the date was announced so far after the original dates were at the beginning of April. Now we're obviously in May, which is crazy that it's May. Anyway, I was like, why is she doing it so far away? Like it was literally the first week of April, I want to say, but then I realized the Met Gala, so I think that might be why. So we will see. But yeah, very excited for the Met Gala this year. I think it's going to be a good one. The runway theme isn't too hard to comprehend, so I hope everybody will be on theme. It's like florals or something like that, like florals for spring, groundbreaking kind of vibe. So very excited to see what everybody wears. Dua Lipa has confirmed she will be there. So it's like the star-studded event to kick off the summer and like spring. So very excited to see what the Met Gala has in store for us. We will chat more about that next week. And moving on, oh, Billie Eilish, our next story. I believe she will also be at the Met Gala, which she has been there before, so will not be surprised if she appears. But Billie Eilish has announced that she is going on tour this fall. She has 3 dates at MSG. She's going like all over the place. So tons of dates for that. Very exciting. I've seen Billie a number of times and she always puts on a great show. I feel like she really just like thrives performing. She doesn't obviously do her music doesn't lend dancing and choreography, but she has such like a vibe about her when she's on stage, if that makes sense. She's just like rocks out, does her thing. So definitely will be attending the tour. Something that I thought was interesting though, allegedly, you can only purchase 4 tickets per Ticketmaster account for the entire tour, which to me, in my elder age who doesn't follow tours anymore, fine by me. I typically only need 2, maybe 3. But if I was 18, 19, even like 20, I mean, God, I was following tours for longer than I should have been. But if I was like a stan and trying to follow this tour and I could only go to quote unquote like 4 shows, obviously your friends can buy and you can do things like that. But like on your own purchase 4 tickets, like that's a little stands, like especially Billie. Like Billie has hitters. Billie has such a dedicated and like stan following that I feel like a lot of her fans would go to 5, 6, up to 10 shows for her. Like, and that probably sounds crazy to people listening who aren't in stan culture, but like that's very normal. Which now looking back, I understand how bizarre it is, but like when I was in my stan culture, I mean, not that I'm not in my stan culture era anymore, but if you knew me like pre-pandemic, really, like I would go hard for tours. I would follow them around. I would go city to city. I've seen the Jonas Brothers in more states that I can count. Same with Miley, same with Lord. Like I followed their tours around the country multiple times. And now I'm like, all right, New York, and that's it. Like I will rarely travel for a show. It's just like I don't have it in me. It's like not my thing anymore. I no judgment. Like I get it. Do what you got to do. Like I fully root for it. And like don't get me wrong, I'm sure I will be traveling for shows in the future. Like just not the way that I used to, where it was like bus, club, another club, bus, no sleep. Like we used to do some crazy shit. I feel like I need to have like my Jonas friends on eventually, like the group of us, and we can just talk about the crazy shit that we have done for the Jonas Brothers. Because like if you know, you know, like we were doing things that we should not be doing at like 16 years old, sleeping on the streets, following them around the country. I literally quit my job in high school to follow the Jonas Brothers around the country. And I was like, yeah, I don't, I could care less. Like, I mean, it was a grocery store job, granted, but like still. I looking back at it now, I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? What was I doing? And again, no judgment of doing it now. Do your thing. I am all for it. But this whole 4 ticket per person thing, like, would have sent me in a spiral back in the day. I would have figured it out, obviously, because like one thing about a stand, you're gonna find your way in. You're gonna figure out a way to get the ticket. You're gonna find out a way to get in. Like, that's not stopping you. Ticketmaster has been trying to keep a bad bitch down for years. They're never gonna stop us. But I just thought that was really interesting. And also, I think it's not to stop like fans from going to multiple shows. I think it's more so to stop scalpers from buying up to 8 tickets per show slash tour. Realistically, tour because you could buy 8 tickets to as many shows as you wanted. For Billie's tour, it is 4 tickets for the whole tour on one account, which really is crazy because if you think like scalpers, they could go in, they have all their bots, they could do pre-sales however many they wanted and buy 8 tickets to resell for 20 shows if they wanted to. Now they can only buy up to 4. So I'm curious to see. Oh, and resale in most states is only up to face value. You cannot resell these tickets on traditional resale tickets. You can't sites. You can't hike up the prices. Like there's like much stricter rules on these, which I'm curious to see like how this pans out for resale, how it goes. So we will see. But I just thought it was very interesting. Something else that was very interesting about this tour, I did try for pre-sale today. Tickets were a little more than I wanted to spend right now, so I'm gonna wait it out. I'm in no rush. It's in October. I'll find a ticket eventually. But she had this whole thing about not doing platinum tickets. But then when you went in, there were certain tickets that were definitely platinum pricing. So it's like, is she turning platinum off fully and charging that much? Because some of those tickets were like $600. Girl, you must have been dropped on your damn head if you think people are paying $600. That's Beyonce money. Girl, like, and there were reasonably priced tickets. Don't get me wrong, like floor was like $200, which like not bad, but I'm not doing a Billie Eilish pit at almost 30 years old. Like I'm good. But it just seemed like platinum pricing was on, but just not called platinum pricing, which is if that is the case, and I hate to do this because I am such a Billie fan, but if she does have that upped pricing on without saying it, it's very much giving I'm selling 9 vinyls of my album, but everybody else who does it is killing the planet again. And like I don't want to be that person, and this is gonna come bite me in the ass. Like I know eventually like someone's gonna see this and be like, "You said this about Billie, and now you're at her show." And what? And what? Sue me. Sue me, bitch. Go ahead. You like it is what it is. I'm calling it how I see it. And this is not me calling her out or anything like that. It is just what I'm observing. If you're gonna go on an interview and say like it's a waste of like it's what is it? What'd she say? Like a waste of plastic and like it ends up in landfills, whatever, when you make all these pressing of vinyls, but then release your vinyls. Granted, she does do it with recycled material. I respect that. And I talked about this a few hours ago, like a few hours, a few episodes ago, but I it's just very much like giving that same energy, like, oh, don't make 9 pressings of vinyls, but when I do it with all this recycled stuff, which is great. It is fantastic that she does it, and I really do applaud the fact that she keeps her vinyls at a reasonable price. They are not crazy priced for the materials that she is using, so kudos to her. Again, I am not dragging her in this sense, but it just is like now her tickets, 4 rows, the first 4 rows of the off the floor were like $600, and then everything else was 1 to 200. So I'm like, what makes you think sitting 4 rows closer grants $400 more? I don't know. It just seemed weird. I'm very excited for Billie's album. I have been a Billie fan since before her first album came out. Like I love the bitch. I've seen her in concert multiple times. I am not here to like roast Billie Eilish. I'm just calling things how I see it. And I think that's what I'm here for. I say it all the time. I'm just a boy with a microphone. That's all I am. I'm just a boy in his living room talking about pop culture into a microphone and his iPhone. Like, I don't know what you want from me, but very excited for Billie to be touring. I'm really stoked for this new album. Again, I love every project he's put out, so I'm very excited to see how this turns out. And moving on to our next topic, Miss Blue Ivy is gunning for an EGOT, and I am behind it. If you did not see, there is a new live action movie coming out, which is a prequel to The Lion King called Mufasa. You remember back in, I think it was like 2019, The Lion King live action came out. Maybe it was 2018, one of those years before the pandemic. Isn't it crazy that we all kind of like measure our lives like pre-pandemic and post-pandemic? Like I don't even know what year it was, but I know it was pre-COVID. Like I don't want to get into it, but like that really was a crazy thing that we lived through. Like anywho, they are making a prequel to the Lion King live action. It is titled Mufasa, so it is the story of Simba's dad. I'm very curious how this plays out because Beyonce will be in the movie as Nala, which she obviously was in the original movie as well. Not the original Lion King, but the original live action. And Blue Ivy is playing Kiara, who is Simba's daughter, if I have that correct. Yeah, Kiara is Simba's daughter. And if it's the prequels to The Lion King, how the hell is Simba's daughter in it? So I'm sure it's kind of going to be like a flashback and forward of the movies. I don't know. I'm excited that Disney's doing something new. I feel like for a while we have been getting a lot of remakes, which I do. I love the Disney live action remakes, even the bad ones. I still think it's such a fun way to do it. And is it a remake? Yes, but I appreciate that it's a new spin on what we're used to. You know, we're used to these Disney cartoons, and when they bring them to life, I think it's such a fun way to breathe new life into these movies. So I'm a fan of all the Disney remakes without being a Disney adult kind of thing, you know, more like the artistry of it. And obviously, when Beyonce's involved, I'm signed the fuck up. So I'm very curious how this goes. But yes, Blue Ivy is making her movie debut alongside Beyonce, and I'm very excited. It is in theaters this December. We will talk about it more. We don't really know much right now besides the fact that Lin-Manuel Miranda is doing the music. So again, unpopular opinion about music production, but I love Lin-Manuel Miranda. I get it. I know people think he's annoying and like whatever. I'm into it. Like it is what it is. But very excited to see how this movie comes about. I'm also curious if we're gonna get another Beyonce album like she did for the first one. The Gift is obviously like a very slept on album outside of the Beehive, but it is a fantastic piece of work. If you have not watched Black is King on Disney Plus, girl, what are you doing? Please go watch it. Like, it is such a beautiful piece of work. And I hope she does another one. Like, I think that would be a really cool kind of a breather from the three act project, which, like, not that I want a breather, but it would be a cool kind of like, here's something else in the middle to really end it with a bang with the rock album. Like, enjoy Cowboy Carter. We have it for the whole rest of the year. Then she drops this little Lion King project she's doing, just like a hobby. I feel like these are just like, oh, yeah, I'll do that in my spare time. And then next year, maybe we'll get Act 3, the rock, that like big bang at the end to finish the three act project. So we'll see how that plays out. But obviously, I couldn't go this week without talking about my niece making her movie debut in Mufasa. Congrats, Blue Ivy. This next story, this was literally all today. Like, this had hot off the press, and I was hysterically laughing at every developing piece of it. So if you have not seen Barbra Streisand, Miss Fanny Bryce herself, she commented on Melissa McCarthy's Instagram last night or this morning. It was a picture of her, and I think it was like her, someone said her choreographer. I don't know why Melissa McCarthy would have a choreographer, but her and some man. They were going to a gala doing their thing. Lots of galas recently. Very like big theme. And maybe that's a normal thing for April, May, but like everybody's at a gala. What the fuck? Anywho, she commented on this picture of Melissa and this man at the gala. Barbara, this is, and said, "Give him my regards. Did you take Ozempic?" Which, like, you just have to admire the fact that Barbra Streisand is on her Instagram commenting herself. Like, that's not a social media manager. Obviously, that is Barbara not knowing how to use Instagram. And also, just like, did she think it was a DM? Like, when I saw this morning, I was like, girl, good for you. Like, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, this is social media, it's Instagram. Also, it's Melissa McCarthy. Like, she's the one of the funniest people on earth. Like, she laughed about it, and we actually have a response. She said TMZ reached out because TMZ is always at the scene of the crime and asked what she thought, and she said, "I love it. I think Barbara's a treasure." So obviously she did not take it to heart. And then Barbara actually responded a little bit before I started recording tonight. She said, "OMG, I went on Instagram to see the photos we posted of the beautiful flowers I'd received for my birthday. Below them was a photo of my friend Melissa McCarthy, who I sang with on my Encore album. She looked fantastic. I just wanted to pay her a compliment. I forgot the world was reading." Just like so innocent, so funny, and also like it's Barbra Streisand. What like who you can't like you're not gonna bring her down. She doesn't give a fuck. She like you know what I mean? It was just so funny. And like when was the last time she made news for an Instagram comment? You know what I mean? It was just so funny, and I love that it happened today so I could talk about it like in real time because I saw this literally right before I sat down to record. I saw her response and I was like, oop, clip that, let's put that in. So Barbara, honestly, keep it up. Keep commenting on things. Let's like start this new trend of just like not making Instagram like fabricated. Comment whatever the fuck you want. Keep it up. I loved it. I thought it was hysterical. Melissa thought it was hysterical. So much fun. Just I like it just when was the last time we saw Barbara Streisand in the news because of a social media comment? It's so funny. Queen of Instagram for the week. I'm obsessed. And another queen. If there's news about her, I need to talk about it. Anne Hathaway. So she is doing promotion for her new movie, The Idea of You. And she did a interview with the New York Times that came out over the weekend. And she revealed that she is 5 years sober recently. So she doesn't talk about it often. I didn't know that she was sober or that she had a drinking problem ever in her life. But yeah, she said that drinking was probably a way of dealing with not feeling comfortable in her own body, but she has now been sober for 5 years. Just like, good for you, queen. Go off. Like, celebrate on your own terms. You don't need to make it a big deal, but like, good for you. Keep it up. Like, and again, you girl, if you know me, I'm out and about. I love to have a drink. I love a cocktail. I love a gummy. Like, not my lifestyle, but like, I have to, as I've, not to get like into my life, but in a family of people who have struggled with addiction, so I know how hard it is to get sober. So, like, good for you. Incredible. I love that she just like dropped it into her interview. When they brought it up to her on the red carpet to congratulate her, she like literally forgot what was going on, which also probably she just was like, I'm promoting my movie. Like, what are you talking about? But then she was very open to talking about it. So she wasn't like taken aback. But just a little round of applause to Anne Hathaway, Princess of Genovia, Queen of the World. I'm very excited to watch this new movie that she's putting out. It is, if you don't know, it is literally based off of a Harry Styles fan fiction. And I haven't read it. I was never a fanfic girl. But everyone who has read it and who has seen the movie, because they've been doing like previews and stuff, I think it actually like came out technically last month to like independent film places and now it's coming out on Amazon. People are saying it's great. People are loving it. And I mean, Anne Hathaway isn't going to sign on to a project that isn't fantastic. You know what I mean? She holds herself to a very high bar. So I think anything with Anne Hathaway you can imagine was like not her just like taking a job. She doesn't need to take a job. She's good to go. So if she reads a script and she doesn't want to do it, I don't think she's not an actress who is just gonna take something to take it. So I'm very excited for this new movie and just love to celebrate Anne Hathaway any way that I can. And what better way to end the show than with Anne Hathaway? But we are not done yet. If you are new here, I end every show with my yes and my mess of the week. My yes being something I'm loving, my mess being something I'm not loving. We always start on the high note. So let's start with my yes. And this is something that has taken Twitter, Instagram, TikTok by storm. Roxy Andrews' entrance line for All Stars 9. It has, if it has not graced your Twitter feed, if you're not on Drag Race Twitter, I am so sorry. It is so hysterical. She essentially, All Stars 9 is premiering in like a week or two. And she walks in and she does her entrance line. She says, "Baby, you can't read the doll." And people are taking it and running with it. They are cutting it up. They are slicing the words around to make it say different things. Like, it is so funny. And like, her line isn't even anything that like crazy or clever. Like it's very just like, "I am Roxy, hear me roar." But the way that the internet is running with it, she made merch with it. It is everywhere. I am obsessed with it, and I'm so excited for this season of All Stars. Like I talked about it last week. Obviously, the cast is sick. Like I'm so stoked. We also just found out that Kiki Palmer is a guest judge. Hello, like Obsessed. Fucking obsessed. I cannot wait. Premieres, I think, May 17th. I'm actually going to an early screening of All Stars 9. They are doing it at the 92Y, which is on the Upper East Side here in New York. So me, Thomas, and Jocelyn. Oh my God, this might be the longest I've gone an episode without mentioning Jocelyn. That's impressive. Can't go an episode without it though. But um we are going to go to an early screening of the episode. So I will actually be seeing it next Friday, May 10th, for the first time, which is the premiere, which kind of sucks because then I realize like I'm going to go a week where I'm not going to have it. So I'm going to have to just watch the episode again. But I'm excited to go. The cast will be there. They're going to do a little conversation. So we'll chat about that not next week, the week after. It'll be the week that the season, oh my God, the math was just not mathing in my head. The week that All Stars 9 premieres, that episode that comes out that Wednesday, we'll chat about what I thought about the premiere. I won't give too many spoilers away because I hate people who spoil things when they see something early. So we'll just chit chat about it. I'll tell you more about like the conversation with, and then we'll go from there. Now that we're done with that tangent, let's get into my mess of the week. My mess of the week is again something that is hot off the press. I saw it earlier, and it's more so this just kind of sparked the conversation. It's not that this is, oh my God, ruined my day, because it didn't. Like, I'll be fine. But just like stupidity on the internet lately, I feel like is at an all-time high. Not to bring this back up, but this isn't what stemmed this. I'll get into that in a second. But people like Swifties, derogatory, were taking the tweets about Adele still outselling Taylor in her first week and being like, well, with inflation, Taylor actually sold more copies. Can you shut the fuck up? Can you shut the fuck up? Who gives a fuck? If Taylor sold more albums than Adele, you know what? You still wouldn't have a job. You would still be on Twitter doing that. Shut the fuck up. Like, it was so annoying. And the stupidity just has been like oozing out of people lately. Leah Michelle, this is what stemmed this. Leah Michelle posted a photo today. She is pregnant. She's on vacation in Florida with her family. And the first photo was her with her bump. I mean, she's like itty bitty tiny little girl. She barely is showing. And she posts that. And then the next photo is a drink on the beach. And all of the comments are like, are you promoting drinking while you're pregnant? Can we use our brains for one fucking second? Do you think, and if she is, obviously not okay, but if she is drinking while she's pregnant, do you think she's gonna post it to her X amount of million of Instagram followers or that hundreds of thousands? I don't actually, how many Instagram followers does Leah Michelle have? I feel like that's interesting. Let's look. Let's do a little research. Oh, 8.3 million. Yeah, that tracks. But yeah, people are literally commenting. I'm reading it right now. Pregnant and drinking alcohol. Leah, my pregnant friend, is that an alcoholic beverage? Oh, one person has sense. Y'all really can't be serious thinking she would drink alcohol and post it on socials. Like, be so fucking serious. All these people who are literally like, are you drink? Yeah, all these comments, all these millions of people, they're all like, you're drinking, you're drinking, you're drinking. Shut the fuck up. Like, I know Leah Michelle is not the most favorable person in the world. I get it. I know. I'm a Gleek till the day I die, so like I have a soft spot for Rachel Berry in that sense, but like I get it. I understand. But like she's not dumb. Maybe she can't read, but like she's not an idiot. She's not gonna post an alcoholic beverage. Like mocktails exist. And I just think like the stupidity on the internet has always been at an all-time high, but for some reason lately it has just been like driving into my skull more than it ever has. And I've been on the internet for a long time. A long time. And lately, people are just like at an all-time high of stupid. I don't know what's in the air. I don't know what's going on, but like I think we need to open the schools. Like we need to something is going on because these people, the kids are not all right. The kids are not all right. And with that being said, that is the end of my episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Too Pop to Handle. I'm just like thinking back on this episode and like there were so many highs and lows. Like I was like mad and then I was happy and then I was like back and forth. I don't know. Something's in the air, I guess. Maybe I'm the problem. With that being said, thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Too Pop to Handle. If you like what you heard and you're listening to us as a podcast, make sure you leave us a 5-star rating, leave us a little review, let me know what you're thinking. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give us a like, drop a comment. You know all the YouTube things. There's so many goddamn things you could do on YouTube. Do them all, except dislike. Hit the bell, hit the like, drop a comment, hit subscribe. Don't hit dislike though. If you're not already following me on social media, make sure you head over to Two Pop to Handle on all social platforms. That's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. I am there. I am constantly yapping, constantly posting. Come follow along for the ride. If you're interested in following little old me, my personal Instagram, Twitter, I am at Andrew Nucatola. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Again, I'm always yapping, whether I'm cosplaying at the podcast or being myself. There's always a constant stream of yapping. And with that, I will catch you guys next week. Bye. What the fuck is wrong with me?